Okay, well, hi, Chris and Rob. Welcome to EMAS Sports. So to start off with, can you both describe your role with the Boston Renegades and how you got started in the league, and just explaining about what the Boston Renegades are all about?
All right, my name is Rob Weissman. I am the head coach and catcher for the Association of Blind Citizens Boston Renegades. I have been coaching this sport for 25 years. We are an adaptive form of baseball for the visually impaired that has been playing primarily in Watertown. And with me, I have brought one of our newer players.
Yeah, my name's Chris Kimball. I've been playing on the team since 2021. Pretty much, as in baseball terms, there's a specific position I play. I pretty much play all over the place. But yeah, I've been on the team since 2021.
Okay, and just to clarify, Chris, you said you didn't have a specific role, or you kind of just play all over the place?
Pretty much, that's what I would say. Our back layer of the defense called Rover. I play there, sort of the deepest part of the field. I play sort of a middle position, sort of what we call first base on the right hand side of the field, and as well as up front what we call shorty position, sort of like our front layer of defense. So a little bit of all over the place.
We try to have a lot of our players play multiple positions, which allows the flexibility for them to get in more depending on the opponents that we're playing. He'll play different positions. He
Okay.
plays deeper against some of the bigger hitting teams, and he plays closer against some of the weaker hitting teams.
Okay. In your own words, please describe how important it is to both of you to be involved in one of the most active and most established beep baseball programs in the National Beep Baseball Association.
It's just a great experience to compete at such a high level alongside other visually impaired people. Be and As well as alongside my teammates and learn and grow alongside my teammates. That would be the best way I can put that.
For me, he's been doing it for 25 years. It means a couple of things, right? So first of all, I'm a former baseball player. I played until I was about 22 years old. I think I played in what was called the Stan Musial League at the time in the late 80s, early 90s. I used to play for the Acton A's a long time ago. But I had to get out of the game. I had got banged up and injured, and this was a great way for me to stay in the sport and take my baseball knowledge and help a community that was trying to get going and take my love of baseball with my love of helping people and my knowledge of adaptive sports and try to help build a culture with some of my closest friends and family members. And, we have built something that's pretty incredible and unique in this league, in what we've been able to accomplish on the field. And then off the field, I think it's also really important as we, all of us at some point in our life are going to go through something. And, whether that's a visual impairment or whether that's an illness or the loss of a loved one, we're all going to go through something. And I feel it's important to surround yourself with people who are going through the same journey as you because you can learn from them. And that can improve the quality of your life. And I think that's a big component of what we do. A lot of the players that come to us, they're all in different stages of vision loss. And there's such a huge support amongst those players to help each other, not just on the field with the baseball skills, but off the field with basic things like job training, how to use your iPhone, how to navigate the MBTA, how to do your homework as a freshly, someone that's just lost their vision and everything in between.
That. Um, the Renegades have won 9 Beasts of the East titles, which is the most among any team in the entire league, and have earned 15 straight winning seasons. Do each of you have a favorite title or moment from your time with the Renegades, and what is that and why?
You want to start, Chris? Give you a chance to think about it, or are you good?
Yeah. I'm good.
All right, so I'll start. So, you said you're good. Go. Your moment better be the Chris Kimball game, but go ahead.
Best moments in the game are all the little things, right? I've being on the team for a short period of time. I haven't really experienced as many, the bigger games or titles games as Rob has. But in my opinion, the little moments matter. So my actually favorite moment is when one of my teammates scored his first run. His name's Ivan. He has his own personal struggles that he's gone through over the past several years. And to see somebody else get up to the plate and score their first run after, I think it was at least 2, maybe 3 years that he was playing with us before he scored his first run, and just all the time and effort that he and the coaches put into his development, his balance, getting a little bit of faster each year around the base, things like that. So again, little moments are the best ones, and that one stands out to me.
And Ivan was a former high school baseball player who had a stroke in his late 30s. So there's a huge backstory to that, which was an amazing moment. I would agree with Chris. I'll go a little different. Look, we've won a lot of games, won a lot of big games. We've lost some big games. That's the nature of all sports. But I like to, some of the things that I think are most memorable are stories like what Chris said. And I had an opportunity to coach one of our current players. His name is Christian Daxton. Christian was a former college baseball player. That's how, when he learned he was losing his vision, he couldn't see the inside fastball anymore. So he went to the doctor, found out he was going to lose his sight. Long story short, he started playing with us in 2015, and in 2017, he set the league record for the highest batting average in the history of the sport when he hit 896. And the cool moment for me was we got his bat into the National Baseball Hall of Fame, and to be with him when he saw his bat on display at the National Baseball Hall of Fame was bone chilling. I'll never forget that moment, just knowing what his journey was and how new he was to blindness at that time. To be able to be there and share that moment with him was something I'll never forget.
I was gonna say I actually blended it into one of my questions. But I've been to the Baseball Hall of Fame, and I never remember seeing it, but now if I do go back, I definitely will. So thank you for that. I'll make a note of that. And also encourage anybody watching that if you're going to Cooperstown, now you have another thing to look forward to among the big amount of history that baseball, the Hall of Fame has. So, yeah. Anyways, that's really cool, and I never knew that. So now I have something to look forward to when I go back.
Yeah, I'm
Whatever
not
that
so
is.
sure it's still on display. It goes on and it goes off and on. It went into a special display that was like, I forget what the name of it was, but it was like things that happened that year in baseball, right? So they bring it in and out. I don't know if it's currently on display at the moment, but it was there in 2018. We did an event with Cooperstown, and it was there on display, which was cool. And we've got other artifacts there as well. So which is really been something I could never have dreamed of when we started this.
Speaking of Christian, he was one of 3 MVPs at the NBBA World Series. Guys,
Zuccarello.
Zuccarello, thank you. And Joe McCormick being the other two. So kind of talk about those two's impact on the team and what they bring to the table. Because we talked about Christian, or you guys just talked about Christian. But what about those two? What do they bring to the table, and what kind of impact do they have on the Renegades?
Yeah, I'll start it and then give it to Chris. I'm curious what his feedback is because he plays with all 3 of them. Guy Zuccarello has been playing the sport pretty much since the inception of this team. So he has over 20 years of experience playing the sport. He won his MVP in, I believe it was 2012 on the defensive side of the game. And as Chris was saying, he plays up front in our defense. We call it a shorty position, and he is short, so it's kind of funny that we call it that. But so he won it first, so he was the first one on the team, and then Christian won the MVP the year he set that record on the offensive side of the game, and then I believe it was in Beaumont, Texas, in was it 2022 or 2023? I forget which year. Joe McCormick won co-MVP, hitting 800 at the World Series. So, I think as a team, we all take pride in their accomplishments because it's a team effort to make this work. They can't, Christian, for example, and Joe McCormick aren't going to hit 896 and 800 without their pitcher. And the pitcher is a volunteer who's sighted and is on the same team with them. And maybe to a lesser extent their catcher, right? But so that it's a team effort to get that, to get those guys to hit at that level. And then also, right, there's a lot of coaching that goes into this stuff. I mean, yes, Christian knew how to swing a bat. There's nothing that we have done to teach Christian how to swing a bat, but he had to learn how to run the bases blindfolded. He had to learn how to adjust his swing because anyone watching this who plays baseball, you use your eyes. You track the ball with your eyes. Well, he's not able to track the ball with his eyes. So every once in a while, he gets into a funk, and we have to make him aware of that funk around. Usually, it's him pulling off the ball or not extending towards center field. So it's a team effort, and I think everybody takes joy in their success because there's a lot of people who coach those people. Whether they're teammates giving tips about how they handle certain things, or coaches that have spent time with them. So we all take great pride in that. Chris, you have something that you'd want to add from a player's perspective?
Yeah, every to Rob's point, it's the sport as a whole is a huge team effort, and honestly, like every single player and coach brings something unique to the table. That's one of the great things about the team and the culture in general is we get people from everywhere, people who haven't, like Ivan, who may have competed 4 decades ago in baseball, and then there's people who maybe are more recent athletes, like one of our younger guys, Tyler. But these guys in particular, they mean a lot to the team in general, and honestly, MVPs, things like that don't even like begin to describe what guys like that mean to the team and what every individual player brings. Like Thaxton, he's great. He brings his D2 baseball experience, and he thinks outside of the box a lot when it comes to helping with our own players' development and helping them both, on the field if they're in a little bit of a funk or they're having a problem. Guy who's been around for forever. And so, he just has boatloads of experience. If you ever need someone calm, cool, and collected to talk to, Guy's always there. And as far as Joe Mac's concerned as well, it's just sort of the same thing. Like he's there, he's dependable. He's another one of our great utility players. So basically, you have these guys on the field or off the field. They contribute a ton. You know what to expect whenever they're on the field and off the field. Guys, to Rob's point earlier, off the field, guys like Joe Mac are extremely helpful for those types of younger people who might be going through college or taking classes because he has a lot. He works a lot with technology, and he's really good at sharing those skills and his past experiences. So for somebody who might be encountering blindness or the visual impairment for the first time, he's a great person to talk to, off the field, to just work on those general life experiences as well. So they all bring something unique to the table. Yeah.
And I'll add one last thing. What makes them not just special beyond what makes them special beyond from what we just talked about is they're great leaders, and they really help set the tone, right, as far as making sure that the bench gets in and that there's that playing time gets distributed, and making sure that that they're taking care of their teammates and helping them learn the game, and they're just great leaders, and we would not be where we are without them. Beyond the statistics, they're great human beings. Yeah.
Well, and that's something you can't really capture through statistics. I mean, you capture that through interviews like this, where you can kind of describe people, what they are at their core, I guess,
Yeah.
and
Just
the kind of
totally
leadership they bring.
unselfish. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally unselfish. Team first, all three of them. And we go with them. So
Well, speaking of your coaches, and Rob, this is a question for you. So you have, at least from the 2023 season, or starting in the 2023 season, if I read the website correctly, you had 18 returning coaches with 214 years of experience. So what kind of impact does that have on team culture and just in general, when you have that much experience and that much voices that are working together, and yeah, just the overall impact of that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been coaching this sport for close to 25 years, and I'm not the only one. So we've seen a lot, and we've seen a lot together, and we don't always agree. And I think that's important because, if sometimes we have different opinions, and those different opinions are heard, and valued, and that's how you can create a culture, is by listening to people and trying to take the feedback together to help make the team what you want it to be, so it's an inclusive environment for everybody. I think also with that type of experience, we've seen a lot. So there's different ways that we coach different players. We don't just put everyone into the same box and say this is the way you're going to do it. We might try different things with different players because we found, certain things work for different people. Right. So, and I think, every year, some of our players, even players that have been playing 10, 12 years, just this year, I had a player that's been playing with us since 2014, and I'm teaching him new skills. Right. So we're always trying new things. So it's not just coming back to every year coming back to practice and doing the same drills, the same stuff. We try to teach new things all the time to improve our skills and improve our players. And then, the other thing is, you have someone like me and Ron and Brian Grillo and Rick Myers. And these are the four guys that have all been with the Renegades for around 20 years each. And then we've got someone like, and even my nephew Hunter, who plays in a lot of the men's baseball leagues and is Chris Kimball's roommate. He's been doing it since he was 11 years old, and he's 26 now. So he's got a wealth of experience as well. But we also bring in new people every year. This year in recent years, we've had an influx of foreigners coming onto the team that never really saw baseball, never played baseball, but we find ways for them to help us, right? So, we brought in a fantastic woman, for example. Her name is Gabby this year. She's from Brazil. They don't play baseball they don't play that much baseball in Brazil. But she was able to contribute with her knowledge of exercise and sports. We found a role for her to contribute and make an impact on this team.
Okay, and then you did, in our conversation leading up to this, wanted to have more sighted coaches, I believe,
Yeah.
or the need for that. So just describe that and how people can apply or contact you if they are interested in this, for anyone watching that might potentially help you with that service or help you with that aspect of the team.
Yeah, look, we really want to just continue to grow our volunteer base and our coaching base, and we'll teach you guys everything. If anyone comes in, we'll teach them, what they would need to know and the difference between the sport, right? And this is the size of our ball. There's a Cooperstown Classic baseball, so it's going to be a slightly different game, but there's a lot of transferable skills. And anybody with baseball skills typically comes onto this team and makes an impact immediately. And that's what's kind of cool for a volunteer to come in, is to be able to come in and be able to change lives like immediately, not having to wait months or years to see it. You'll see it like within 2 or 3 practices. You'll be able to see the smiles. You'll be able to see things click, and that's a really cool thing. And what we really are looking for is, we really would like to get some baseball guys, some newer blood onto the team, because every year we lose people, whether it's someone getting married or having a baby or going to college, or moving out of the area. Like, that's a nonstop cycle that we have. And one of our best hitting coaches was a high school student who's leaving to go to college for his freshman year. And he's been invaluable to this team. He's grown up with this team. He started when he was 14 teaching hitting. So, you know, there's a couple of cool things about someone that's sighted coming onto this team that wants to coach, is you can be part of the action. You don't have to just sit on the sideline and coach, because there are sighted help on the team, whether it's a pitcher, whether it's a catcher, whether it's a defensive spotter going out on the field and leading the defense and teaching the defense the different shifts that we need to do. We see, hey, this guy's going to pull the ball. Let's shift the defense over to the other side of the field. So there's a lot of opportunities for someone with baseball knowledge to come in, be part of the action, be part of the wins and losses, not just sit on the sideline and coach. And it can be a mix. And then lastly, one of the big things, teaching hitting, teaching a blind person to hit's a challenge, okay, and which will really challenge someone's communication skills, but also hitting fungo, right? And our guys want someone to come up and hit the ball hard at them. They don't want to be babied. They want to hit someone to crush the ball at them because that will represent the highest level of competition that we're going to face at the World Series. So it helps us prepare for that. And in some of the years that we've gone deepest into the World Series have been the years that we've had younger guys that have been able to crush the ball and work our defense to prepare them for that type of action at the series. So if we can find some people like that, they would make such a huge and quick impact on our team. And if I just found one or two guys would make a huge impact. And the last thing I'll mention is we have a big enough volunteer staff right now that I don't need someone to be at every practice, right? If you can just commit to making half a season for us, then we can, that's enough for you to learn what's going on, meet the people, and make an impact. And that's how we roll, by having a big enough volunteer staff, so that if people can't make it for whatever reasons, work or travel or whatever's going on family related, that we have enough coverage at all times. And it's been a successful model for us over the years.
So you have been on the team since 2021, and outside of baseball, you're also a marathon runner. How does that impact your game, and what does that help bring to the table for you?
Honestly, it's, one of the great things about the sports is just like any other sport. So like it's easy to think, because it's, adaptive, it may be not as competitive or something along those lines. Like right now, that was I'm trying to recruit my brother to play, and that's was one of his first thoughts. But so like bringing some of the experiences from running into it, I mean, you could obviously say, speed, endurance, obviously, but also just like generally speaking, things like, respect for your opponent. It's the same deal, right? You, in the running world, you never underestimate your opponent. Someone once told me there are the people you beat 100% of the time. There are the people you beat 50% of the time when they mess up. And then there are the people that, you may not beat 100% of the time. Same thing, beat baseball. Just bringing that attitude on over and just playing, every opponent the same way. And then just also generally speaking, strategy. It's, just preparing, and executing the game plan. Those are the two things that make any team great and any athlete great. And so just bringing those experiences just from another sport simply into beat baseball, it all translates well. And that's pretty much that.
Okay, and then I guess I can give this question to either one of you, but on the pitching side, you have Ron Cochran and Peter Conley, who have both contact rates north of 80%. What does that do for your overall team success and culture and everything that comes with that?
Yeah, and I'll add Hunter Weissman has started to pitch this year as well as a first-year pitcher. He's not at their level yet. They've been doing it for a long time, but he'll get there. Look, hitting's the sexy part of this sport, period. People love to hit. Defense is the hardest part, and running bases is probably the scariest part. So when you have two pitchers like Ron Cochran and Peter Connolly who can go out and put the bat on the ball, there's no such thing as a routine grounder in this sport, right? There's no such thing as an easy 6-4-3 double play in beat baseball. Every ball is an adventure. And if you watch a game, it's not easy. Fielding a ball defensively is very hard. There's only 6 people on a baseball field that have to find this ball, this beeping ball, and you typically have to find it within 5 seconds against against the elite competition. So having those two guys, just by putting the ball into play, you're giving yourself a chance to score. And one thing Chris undersells himself on is his speed. He's not the strongest of players. He's not going to hit the ball to the home run line. But by just putting the ball in play, he puts so much pressure on the defense because they know he's flying down the line, and they know if they don't pick it clean the first time, he's safe. So speed kills. So if you've got some speed and you've got a couple of guys like Peter and Ron who can put the ball in play, people are going to have fun. And when you're having fun, that at practice it's going to translate into the games and it's going to lead to success. And without those two guys, like, look, I did this early on when we were still learning how to do this, and our strikeout rates were 40% at times, and that's just a lot of free outs that you're giving to the opponents, and it's really hard to compete with teams when you're striking out at that level.
So, your medical team, I think you briefly touched on this in the beginning, but you have, um, two doctors, a surgeon if needed, two physical therapists, and two nurses. So I'll let you guys, either of you guys have the floor on just the more about their importance on the team and anything you want to say that maybe we missed in the first couple questions about that. And yeah, just to kind of give them a huge shout out because obviously it seems like they're an important part of the team as well.
Yeah, I'll start it. We are so fortunate that they wanted to be part of this, and we would not be able to do what we can do without them. Period. Like what they do for our teams. I mean, a lot of people that are coming on this team have other health issues other than just being blind, and they can help us manage that. That's just one thing. But when we get to the World Series and we got to play for a week, they're a big part of as to how these guys get back on the field, right? Chris has had his share of injuries. I'm curious what he has to say, but from a coaching perspective, like we could not do what we do without them.
Yeah, I mean, I would echo the same thing. Basically, they're like the unsung heroes of the team in a way because basically, like not only do they do a great job at what they do, they're also typically multitasking. Like, we'll have somebody, one of our guys, Mike, is typically, he's typically taping people up before the game. He's also doing hit sticks, so he's having people do hitting before the games. And during the games, he's working the batting circle at the same time and taking care of some of the injured people. So typically these guys are not only handling like the the medical stuff, but they're also multitasking. And then obviously keep it from the perspective of a player, like keeping the players on the field. We had a couple of injuries day one of the World Series this year, and to try to get those guys through another 3 to 4 days is a challenge in itself. But fortunately, with the medical staff that we have, we're able to keep most of those guys on the field, keep them active, and rather than riding the bench, especially even bigger because those guys, a couple of the guys that got injured were a really important piece of this team. So to keep those guys on the field and keep us as competitive as possible, there isn't enough praise that we can give for those guys.
What does the future of the Boston Renegades look like? And I'll let that kind of be the final question.
Chris,
you can have that one.
What does it look like? Well, I hope it's continued success. I hope we can, continue to recruit some new volunteers and continue to find some athletes that want to play. Every year we're trying to find some new people, and every year that's what we do. We don't just sit back and rely on the guys that have been playing for 25 years. We're trying to always bring new blood in. And, the way we define winning isn't just wins and losses on the game. It's just going to be, are we helping these guys win at life? Are we doing the best that we can do and getting the best out of our ability? And that's, what we've been, and that's what we'll hopefully always be about.